Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
All right, listen up. Easton Roofing is your place to go. They're the proud sponsor of Danny Unleashed. The folks that just fixed my roof, they'll repair your roof. A lot of roof companies won't. Be careful. There's a lot of roof companies knocking on doors with all the severe weather we've had. There is potential for damages, and there are insurance companies that are looking to capitalize, roofing companies that are looking to capitalize on insurance claims, but be careful. False insurance claims are bad news for homeowners. You make that claim, it goes against your record. Do not make a false claim. That's what a lot of roofing companies want you to do. Oh, just make a claim. What do they care? If 9 out of 10 get told no and have a worse record and worse standing with their insurance company, but one does and they get to put a new roof on, it's money in their pockets. Let Easton Roofing come out and give you a free estimate. See if you even need a new roof. Call 913-257-5426 and get a free inspection with Easton Roofing. If you only need repairs, they'll repair it. If you need a new roof, they'll help you with that, of course. Find them online at eastonroofing.com. Danny Clinkscale from DannyClinkscale.com joins us here in the program. How are you, buddy?
I am fine, and just an indication of the hands-on treatment you get. I think it was a week ago Friday. I went by the Easton office just to say hello to Joe Spiker, and he was immersed in calling when all that weather caused incredible backup in jobs. He was in the midst of making 114 personal calls to clients explaining the situation and telling them that their work would be done as soon as possible. Yeah. That personal touch that he gives.
A lot to be done, absolutely.
Yep, no doubt about that. And so happy birthday to Joe. Just had a birthday the other day as well.
Very good. Very good. Absolutely. Happy birthday to our buddy Joe at Easton Roofing. Danny, the NBA Finals were last night. What you apparently want to give absolutely, which is often your way, absolutely no credit to the victors.
Not absolutely no credit.
Very little.
They had. I'll go to very little.
Okay.
I mean, 4 significant players for the Warriors were either compromised or out, and I don't think anybody believes in any way, shape, or form that the Raptors would have won if maybe even if 2 of them had been completely healthy. I think if Klay Thompson's healthy last night, they'd certainly win that game. He's missed part of the series. And, hey, sometimes circumstances shine on you, and you got to take advantage. But they almost didn't. I mean, there was a razor-thin edge there. Now, they still would have had a Game 7, but they already proved they could lose at home. So I think it's going to be a not very well-remembered championship. That's all I'm saying. I don't think we're going to, people are going to say, remember that classic Toronto Raptors club that seized the championship for We the North. By the way, one of the stupidest slogans. Nothing screams out joy like a purposely non-grammatical slogan. I mean, come on. We the North. First of all, what? It's almost. No, I'm not going to go there. It should be us.
It's almost what?
No, I'm not going to do it.
Is that a Game of Thrones thing?
I don't know. Is that what it is? If that's what it is, I'll give them a little more credit. But they could. Isn't that a? I don't watch Game of Thrones. I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I don't have time. I don't have the service. But
you don't have to make
that's
excuses,
that's an old timey show, isn't it? They wouldn't say We the North, would they?
I don't know.
Nobody said
We the North. I actually think yes, they would, but I don't know. I don't know if it is. Somebody hit me on Twitter at Soren Petro. I'm sure somebody out there knows.
We the North. We the North. Anyway,
Dan North. Sure.
So good. Hey, I have no venom against. Whenever something good happens to Canada, I'm all good for it. Who doesn't like Canada? They're nice people. Hockey players are nice. Everybody
were they nice
sport.
when Kevin Durant went down?
No, that wasn't very nice. But they were drunk, whatever. Which is a good thing to be if you're in Canada, parts of it. And I love Toronto as a city. It's one of the most cosmopolitan, interesting places I've ever been. I'd like to go back when I wasn't working. I was there for the playoffs. I have never been in a place that's, and I've been to London, which is the second most international type city I've ever been to. But, I mean, I stayed in an area where my hotel was, and it was like it was Chinatown. And then you'll go some other place, and it's like you're in Baghdad. I mean, it's unbelievable, the melting pot that city is. It's incredible. So good on them. But it's just such an asterisk championship. I mean,
I think you're completely wrong.
No, I know. I heard you talk to Curtis, but
teams get old, they get hurt. That's what happens. So there's value in not being old.
Those guys aren't 36 years old. They're not LeBron James old.
They're getting into their 30s, and that's when the injuries start piling up.
Well, DeMarcus Cousins, how old is he? About 30.
He's
probably.
Coming off. They signed him when he couldn't even walk.
Well, I agree.
So being like,
but Klay Thompson's what, about 30? Probably not even
30. He's right at 29, 30.
Right. I mean, these
are
are
pounding up and down on the NBA floor takes it out of you.
I agree, but to me, Klay Thompson's was just more of a fluke. He landed awkwardly, and that happens.
He was already hurt.
And he was already hurt. He was already hurt. Yes.
Well, I would buy it if I didn't at the beginning of the series go at the beginning of the playoffs say the Warriors are the team that should win it, but old teams get hurt, and they are now becoming an old team.
Right, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't take something away from the team that wins.
Well,
a completely compromised. If the team, this team was, it's also the timing of the injury. Okay,
yeah, but here's the problem: is you come in here saying, "What was the completely irrelevant asterisk title?"
Yes,
and then when I say, "Well, but injuries and age and building your team, those are all factors that you have to put into it," then you say. Then your argument becomes, I'm like chasing a tail here. Then your argument becomes, well, you can't say it doesn't take anything away. No. My response was to your this is worthless statement to the Raptors.
I didn't say worthless. I said I think
an asterisk is pretty bad.
Right, and I think
this this needs an asterisk. That's a pretty big slap in the face to the Raptors.
Right, and I'm willing to give that slap to the face. I think it's going to be one of the more insignificant championships that we will remember in the four major sports. I do.
Well, I think that's different than saying it deserves an asterisk.
Say that,
the Mavericks win over the Heat in the first year of the Big Three down in Miami is not one of the celebrated ones. Most people couldn't tell you what the hell year that was, or really even other than Dirk Nowitzki, who was on that team. Larry Brown's title with the Pistons with Chauncey Billups. If you're saying it's going to be one of those, because I think Kawhi Leonard's going to leave, yes, I would give it no argument. But that doesn't constitute putting an asterisk by it.
But
somehow they gerrymandered the rules
but they didn't
to give them a
They
title.
also didn't win the championship against the team that was almost certain to beat them if they hadn't get ravaged by injuries. Ravaged. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, the Pistons' first title came against the Laker team that was bombed with injuries.
That's really the
Nobody's
best
dinging
example
that.
of it. But
right now,
part of it's because they won the next year.
Yeah.
If the Raptors win next year,
and when the Pistons got through to get to the Lakers the first year, the Celtics were hobbling around on busted feet and bad backs with Larry Bird and Kevin McHale. Teams get old and they're not as good.
The Pistons,
you're better.
The Pistons
Agreed,
have been
but
those
teams have other pedigree. Do you expect the Raptors to win another title?
The causation and the effect they don't relate. With them winning more titles does not mean that they need an asterisk around the title they did win. That's preposterous.
Well, I disagree.
That's just
I don't think it's preposterous.
I
think it were remembered as a team that back-assed their way into a championship.
I think Kawhi Leonard's brilliance, previous and post, will absolutely make your statement right there completely wrong.
Well,
I do not think that they will be. I don't know name me another title somebody back-assed into.
No, there aren't many. I think this is
which is my point.
I think this is one of the more glaring examples of it.
I think you're wrong. I think the team that won will be remembered as the team that won, and every time you look down the record book, it's going to say Toronto Raptors. And like I said, is this one of the great dynasties emerging with Toronto? No. If they re-sign Kawhi Leonard, are they the team to beat in the East?
No.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Who is?
I don't think they'd beat Milwaukee again.
Who is?
If they played him again right now, I don't think they'd beat him.
Well,
Again.
Okay.
I give them credit for beating Milwaukee. Milwaukee was the number 1 seed. They earned
I
their,
do too.
They earned their right.
I don't think you are giving them credit because you're turning around and acting like it was a fluke.
They earned their. I think it was a fluke.
A best of 7 game series. I name me another fluke series. This is my point when I say give me they'll be remembered as a team.
They won
that
2 games in Golden State without their two of Golden State's best players on the floor. Period.
Because they got hurt because they're old and that happens.
Well, they're not that old. You act like they're not creaky old. I mean they're barely 30.
That without steroids is when it starts to kick in. And guys going up and down the floor in the NBA, especially when they came out and started at 18, 19 years old.
No, Klay Thompson didn't.
Well, Thompson didn't. Durant did.
Durant did, yes. I would grant you that Durant is
also with a body that he didn't even go number 1 because they're like, I don't know if this guy will even hold up for 3 or 4 years in the league. Well, he's done that, but it doesn't mean that he's not still an oddly built, sickly looking human being when he takes the floor.
No
and I'm not stunned that he blew an Achilles heel. That's not a stunning development.
No, because he was hurt before and he shouldn't.
He
probably
couldn't
shouldn't
bench
have. He probably
180 pounds.
He probably shouldn't
once.
He probably shouldn't have played.
Well, no, I think he knew. I think he knew exactly where he was.
Right.
It's going to go. You're going to have surgery no matter what. So you can give it a go and last as long as you can.
Yeah, but it wasn't. His Achilles wasn't hurt. It was something else. It was a calf injury. His Achilles wasn't sort of half blown. Was it the causation?
No, I think his Achilles absolutely was half blown. I think the calf injury is BS. Barkley even said it. The way he reacted is exactly how you react when I've seen guys go down. I remember when Chad blew out his Achilles tendon playing basketball and he went down. It was the same. Now he went all the way down because it snapped all the way. But when you feel that, you turn around and look, it feels like somebody kicked you.
Right.
And that's what Barkley was talking about because he's seen him too. The sensation you get is somebody just kicked me. That's how it feels. And when you blew your patella tendon, you asked me if I kicked you when you went by. When we were just practicing and you went down, I'm like, no, we're warming up. You went in and just collapsed onto the floor.
Right.
I mean, that's the sensation. And he did that. He did that turn. There was no calf injury. That's just their crap answer that they put out there.
Well, that could be. But anyway, Toronto is the first team since there's been a lottery that doesn't have a lottery pick to win the championship.
Well, that's interesting.
I think it's an interesting
I
note,
think
and I think it also lends itself to that. This is kind of a fluky championship. Hey, they'll treasure it forever. And as I said, I'm glad for the people of Canada because when something good in Canada happens, the whole country rallies around them. It's great. Their hockey teams have sucked forever, so it's a great moment for.
So listen, I don't want to battle all day on semantics. If your point is. Listen, I'll argue all day. It's like there's no anger or
no, there's no no anger for me.
No.
But when once Klay Thompson went down, I'm like, oh please, Warriors, please win.
Well, I want to get 7, so I wanted him to win.
But
too.
I wanted him to win. Not just that game. Then I wanted him to win. I said, this is horrible.
I wanted the Warriors to win when I saw what they did with Durant. And I don't particularly like the antics of Drake. I think his ass needs to be put in his place. So I was rooting for the Warriors, full disclosure. But I really, if the idea of fluky is this is going to be a one-off title team, then fine. I'm just arguing over the word you're using to describe. I agree wholeheartedly.
It was probably a tad too unleashed, a comment. But that is the title of the damn segment.
That it is.
So
I'm not angry. I love it.
There you go.
Listen, I love it. I will say this, though. I do believe that history will not remember anything as a fluke. It'll just be like, oh, they won one. Wow, that must have been a pretty good team. The 76 Warriors, these teams that pop up in there that amongst the dynasties that just grab one.
Right.
And you don't even see them now with all the dash reference sites where you can just click the tiles and it's like, they beat who? They beat who? And you're like, oh, wow, they won it these 2 years. But look, they lost it 2 other years in that 5-year run as well. They were a really good team in that window. No, I don't think we're going to see the Raptors unless they sign Kawhi Leonard. And then I think they are a dynasty because I think Siakam is still getting better. I think while Lowry is getting older, he can be replaced. What he's giving them now is more easily replaceable.
How many pounds is he going to weigh when he retires from the NBA?
He's amazingly smooth with no belly.